You heard it here first, guys. New details about Donald Trump's assassination attempt. The local SWAT team assigned to help protect former President Donald Trump on July 13th has just confirmed that they did not have any contact with the Secret Service agents that were in charge of the security before a would-be assassin opened fire. No communication at all. Now, I'm also going to share with you guys exactly what they said, so stay tuned for that. But also, Joe Rogan warns Kamala Harris, and we're going to talk about what Joe Rogan had to say about Kamala Harris in today's video. If you haven't already, I really do appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Thank you so much for subscribing, for hitting the like button, and for sharing these videos. But let's hear exactly what the service, what the SWAT team actually had to say regarding the Secret Service not having any communication. And I don't think that the Secret Service wanted to hear about this or allow this information to be leaked out. So let's hear it from them. Take a listen.
The failures of planning and communication that would prove catastrophic.
We were supposed to get a face-to-face briefing with the Secret Service snipers whenever they arrived, and that never happened. So I think that that was probably a pivotal point where I started thinking things were wrong, because that never happened, and we had no communication with the Secret Service.
You had no communication with the Secret Service at all on that Saturday?
No, not until after the shooting, I believe. Yeah.
And by then?
It was too late.
The Secret Service declined to respond directly, but told ABC News the agency is committed to better understanding what happened and is offering complete cooperation with ongoing investigations.
The suspect is directly above us.
I'm sorry, guys. I mean, this is a setup. This is a setup from the very beginning. There's no way in the world you're going to tell me that no one knew about what was going to happen on that rooftop. You're not going to tell me that you guys, like, that these folks didn't know anything about this guy walking around with a rangefinder. He carried a ladder, leaned it up against the wall. You're going to tell me that you can just kind of like walk in, no metal detectors, no preemptive measures. The Secret Service declined the drone assistance offered to them. Like, what in the world is going on here? And then you got Donald Trump sitting out there in the middle of an open field with like 1/10 of the security that a president would normally have in a situation. Granted, he's not the sitting president, but guys, he is the number one. He is the Republican presidential nominee and a former president. This is nothing short of a setup. I'm sorry.
Members of the Beaver County SWAT team rushed to the shooter's rooftop.
There's a ladder right here.
As seen in footage from Rich Gianvito's helmet camera.
Thanks, brother. Yep.
So we had access through that ladder, got up onto the roof.
And as you're scrambling onto that roof, you don't know for sure whether he's dead or alive, or whether you'll encounter fire.
At that point, no.
So what are you prepared? Are you prepared for a firefight at that point?
Well, we're prepared for anything at that point, because at this time we're unsure.
Give me a solid perimeter. Get guys prepped to clear the building.
He encountered the shooter's bloodied body some 400 feet from the stage.
We're clear. We're clear.
The team believes it did everything it could have to thwart the attack, but accepts its share of failure.
I think we all failed that day.
How so?
Life is lost.
Yeah. People died.
I mean, that's horrible, guys. I mean, and like the guy said, you know, this was a critical part of the planning and the communications failures that ended with a gunman killing one man, critically injuring two more, and wounding Donald Trump. I mean, this was definitely a bruise on American history. I mean, and Donald Trump, again, you know, as he delivered a speech just days before accepting the Republican presidential nomination, the fact that one time that SWAT is not briefed by the Secret Service, an assassination attempt occurs. Now, people are really starting to wonder if this was really a coincidence to begin with. You know what I mean? By the way, the guy that was talking was Jason Woods, lead sharpshooter on the SWAT team in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. I mean, kind of sounds like a guy that you want to be in the know, right? I mean, he said that they were supposed to get a face-to-face briefing with the Secret Service members whenever they arrived, and that never happened. So, okay, so you're going to tell me all the people involved in securing the president didn't have some form of communications. Come on, guys. He even said that he started thinking things were wrong because it never happened. They had no communication. With Kimberly Cheatle gone from the position, it's now acting U.S. Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe Jr. that faced the Senate during a hearing on the attempted assassination. According to Rowe, that information about a gunman on top of a roof was never relayed as agents providing security to former President Donald Trump at the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th, when a shooter opened fire and nearly assassinated him. But according to Senator Ron Johnson, who was a part of the panel, kind of sounded like acting director Ronald Rowe was throwing local law enforcement under the bus, but without giving them any details. Now, a panel of senators questioned Ron Rowe during a hearing on the attempted assassination, including Senator Mike Lee, who asked how the president could be allowed to take the stage in the first place. Now, Senator Josh Hawley, he repeatedly asked Secret Service Deputy Director Ronald Rowe Jr. if anyone had been fired after the failed assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. I mean, I want you guys to watch this clip, and I want you to see if this guy is any improvement over Cheatle. You guys let me know what you think. Is this guy any better than Cheatle, or is he as bad, maybe even worse?
Knowing that you had a security situation. The person who made the decision to send Donald Trump onto stage, knowing that you had a security situation, has that person been relieved of duty?
No, sir, they haven't.
Has the person who decided not to pull the former president off of stage when you knew that, in your words, the locals were working a serious security situation, has that person been relieved of duty?
No, sir. Again, I refer you back to my original answer that we are investigating this through a mission assurance. And as opposed to zeroing in on one,
what more do you need to investigate to know
exactly what the
more do you need to investigate to know that there were critical enough failures that some individuals ought to be held accountable? I mean, what more do you need to know?
What I need to know is exactly what happened, and I need my investigators to do their job. And I cannot put my thumb on the scale. Otherwise,
what do you mean put your thumb on the
objective? You're asking me, Senator, to completely make a rush to judgment about somebody failing. I acknowledge this was a failure of the Secret Service.
Is it not prima facie that somebody has failed? A former president was shot.
Sir, this could have been our Texas school book depository. I have lost sleep over that for the last 17 days, just like you have.
Somebody to hold them accountable.
I will tell you, Senator, that I will not rush to judgment, that people will be held accountable, and I will do so with integrity and not rush to judgment and put people unfairly persecuted.
Unfairly persecuted?
Unfairly, sir. We have to be able to have a proper investigation into this.
Wow. Definitely a heated exchange, guys. Definitely a heated exchange, but you could kind of see why this whole thing with the Secret Service could be downright frustrating. After the hearing, Senator Roger Marshall even called for an independent, non-political commission to study this entire crime scene. He even called for our commander-in-chief, that's President Biden, by the way, to immediately appoint a crisis leadership team to go into the Secret Service, establish that leadership, turn things upside down, and begin providing adequate protection for Donald Trump and for others. Now, another lawmaker who actually got into a very heated back and forth with acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe Jr. was also at the hearing. This was Senator Ted Cruz. Cruz asked about the Trump security detail, requesting more resources and reports that the resources were shot down. According to him, the Secret Service leadership, they made a political decision to deny these requests, and that the Biden administration has been suffused with partisan politics. Now, Senator Roger Marshall, he made it pretty simple. Congress had doubled down their budget in the last 10 years. Basically, they had like 8,000 agents protecting 33 people that they need to be able to pull. They need to be able to roll up the people that are sitting around and doing nothing at these offices and start assigning them the people to protect them. This is not a conspiracy. This is not a theory. This is the cold, hard truth here. But last but not least, Senator Ron Johnson, Senate Republican Conference Chairman John Barrasso. He actually led a majority of the Senate in introducing a resolution Tuesday to officially condemn the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Now, if this is passed in the upper chamber, the resolution would condemn the attempt on Donald Trump's life. It would honor the victims who were ultimately killed and injured at the rally, and call for unity and civility in the United States. Now, they've even got 64 co-sponsors on the resolution, including both Democratic Pennsylvania Senators Bob Casey. You've also got John Fetterman, whose constituents were victims. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's time for people to go to jail for a real crime and not the BS crime that was charged on January 6th. You know what I mean? But yeah, so guys, this is the news that we should really be talking about, because seriously, mainstream media, they're trying their hardest to silence this narrative. For one, we just found out that the likes of Google and Meta may have been censoring assassination attempt searches. So Trump lashed out on Truth Social regarding Meta and Google following the outcry of social media users. Users basically have been reporting that images and searches of the assassination attempt were being censored or even marked as digitally altered. According to Donald Trump on Truth Social, Meta and Google made it virtually impossible to find pictures or pretty much anything about this heinous act. Both are facing backlash over censorship claims. So yeah, guys, time we shine a light on some of the real truth regarding the Trump assassination attempt. So yeah, make sure you guys watch this as quickly as you can, because I don't know how much longer they're going to let me keep this video up. But anyway, while you guys are at it, definitely hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, make sure you're still subscribed. And thank you, as always, for sharing these videos. I've definitely been getting suppressed over the last couple of weeks. And, you know, I agree with a lot of you guys in the comments that have been saying that I've been getting suppressed. So that's what I'm seeing. But yeah, so first, the local SWAT team confirming that though they were assigned to help protect former President Donald Trump on July 13th, they never had any contact with the Secret Service agents in charge of security before the would-be assassin opened fire. And take notes, guys, this is their first public comment since the assassination attempt. The SWAT team on the ground that day actually said that their supervisor spoke exclusively with ABC News senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky. Now, in fact, the first time any key law enforcement personnel on site January 13th have offered first-hand accounts of what actually happened, and more importantly, what went down that led to the Trump assassination attempt that day. Now, surprisingly, as well as the gunman Thomas Matthew Crooks, apparently sparked a lot of suspicion among the Beaver County SWAT team, but was still able to evade law enforcement and take position on the roof of the very building where counter snipers had been positioned. And although their sniper had taken pictures of Crooks and had called into command about the suspicious presence, Crooks later opened up fire on former President Donald Trump less than 200 yards from the stage. Beaver County Chief Detective Patrick Young, who runs the emergency services unit and the SWAT team, said that they as individuals mean nothing until they come together as a team. And that's true. They were not playing together as a team. So, and sure enough, Secret Service and the SWAT team and all the security that, that day is basically meant nothing against a guy that had a gun and a drone. Go figure, right? So a panel of senators questioned acting U.S. Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe Jr. during a hearing on the attempted assassination. Senator Mike Lee in particular asked how the president could be allowed to take the stage. He described the moments leading up to the assassination attempt as a situation in which, at a minimum, people knew that this guy had a gun at least 2 minutes before the shooting even happened. But according to Rowe, no information regarding a weapon on the roof was ever passed to our personnel. I mean, come on, guys. Senator Ron Johnson aired out his frustrations as well, basically saying that what little we learned, which he said is disappointing. And for the senator, it sounded like acting director Ronald Rowe was throwing local law enforcement under the bus, but without giving us any kind of details. And he kind of summed it up by saying, what frustrates him is that we're like 17 days into the assassination attempt. Basic information is still not available. Senator Roger Marshall, he's calling for anybody else to take the wheel in the Secret Service investigation through an independent, non-political commission in order to study the entire crime scene. He's also said that he's calling for our commander-in-chief to immediately appoint a crisis leadership team to go into the Secret Service, establish that leadership, and turn things upside down and begin providing adequate protection for President Donald Trump and others. Because really, guys, these senators are saying pretty much what we're all thinking. Something smells a little bit off. If y'all think something smells a little bit off, just type in smells in the comment section, guys. Something definitely smells a little bit off about this whole thing. And the Secret Service are trying to protect their own ASS, and God knows who else behind the scenes isn't helping us get answers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Senator Ted Cruz, he said so himself. He thinks that the Secret Service leadership made a political decision to deny Donald Trump's request for additional security. And, not to mention, the good senator also thinks that the Biden administration has been suffused with partisan politics. This resolution from Senate Republican Conference Chairman John Barrasso, it's a good start, though. He, together with a very impressive 64 co-sponsor team, just introduced a resolution in the Senate to officially condemn the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania. And if it gets passed in the upper chamber, Barrasso says that the resolution would condemn the attempt on Donald Trump's life. It would also honor the victims who were killed and injured in the rally, and it would call for unity and civility in the United States. And the majority seems to agree. The condemnation already received 64 co-sponsors, including even the two Democratic Pennsylvania senators, Bob Casey and John Fetterman, whose constituents were victims. Who knows, guys? This could be their path to getting some very guilty, very nefarious people thrown behind bars. So I don't know. Definitely expect more information. We're going to look into this and have something for you guys for the next one. But speaking of guilty and nefarious parties, let's not forget about Meta and Google trying to gaslight people into thinking that those photos of the Trump assassination were altered. Now, quick shout out and thank you to Fed Up Patriot, who says that the American people are tired of all this evil that we've had to endure. Time to bring in the boss and get our America back. Trump Vance 2024. Appreciate the love and the support. Fed Up Patriot, brother. Thank you so much. But yeah, so Donald Trump lashed out at Meta and Google after multiple users reported that images and searches of the assassination attempt were being censored or marked as digitally altered. Now, according to Trump on Truth Social, they made it virtually impossible to find pictures or anything about this heinous act. Both are facing big backlash over censorship claims. He called out the two tech companies, saying, here we go again, another attempt at rigging the election. Go after Meta and Google. Let them know that we are all wise to them. We will be much tougher this time, MAGA 2024. So this actually came from Donald Trump's Truth Social post on his forum. Quick shout out and thank you to Freedom. Appreciate you, brother, for the super chat. Ron, no one is going to be accountable ever. The toilet smells so bad it won't flush, even with Roto-Rooter. Appreciate you, man. It's awful. It's awful. I know. But what about you guys? You guys gonna show up for a clean and fair election this November, or are we gonna be in for something else? So anyway, you guys know I'm gonna keep you guys updated on everything. But just double check and confirm that you're still subscribed to the channel, and make sure your notification bell's turned on. It's totally free to do so. Also helps to make sure that you guys stay updated on the latest content. I've been hearing from a lot of you guys that for some reason you've been unsubscribed from the channel. I don't know if it's YouTube doing that or there's some nefarious party doing that, but I don't know. Just make sure you're still subscribed. And And while you guys are at it, make sure you hit the like button for the video. Also, let's talk about Joe Rogan for a second. He's warning Kamala Harris will win because people are giving into the bull stuff like never before. And so top podcaster by the name of Joe Rogan warned this week that Vice President Kamala Harris will win the presidency because Americans are buying into this bullcrap anti-narrative more than before. Do you guys believe this? Are you buying into this anti-Trump narrative? Is it getting to you guys too? Because this is what Joe Rogan's saying. During an episode on the Joe Rogan podcast featuring commentator Michael Malice as a guest, Rogan insisted that presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris will win because of how much liberals are aligned against former President Donald Trump. Quote, she's going to win. Rogan insisted Tuesday, arguing that people are just so manipulated by the media that they will pull the lever for her. So now this really kind of irks me to think that, you know, the average American, and when I say the average American, I'm not lumping you guys into this, but I'm just saying like the average American would have to be so dumb to be convinced by these shenanigans that Kamala Harris is better than what we know her to be. And essentially, this is what Joe Rogan is saying. He thinks that a lot of people are just going to be manipulated by all this nonsense. You guys saw the Kamala Harris rally that took place in Atlanta, Georgia yesterday. You had Meg Thee Stallion twerking and, you know, doing the booty clap. And you also had, who else you had up in there? It was basically a big concert. It was Migos. What's the guy from Migos? Quavo was there. And so basically it was more like, it made me wonder, were people showing up to this Kamala Harris rally in Atlanta because they really wanted to show support for Kamala Harris? Or did they show up because they got free concert tickets to see some of the hottest hip hop rappers, Meg Thee Stallion and Quavo there? That's the real question. And and I heard that she blew like $200 million that day. Like, how is this showing us that you're a good steward of the U.S. taxpayers' money? $200 million for that event? You gotta be kidding me. There's no way I'd be okay with signing off on that. That was an atrocity, in my opinion. I think it was a horrible waste of money. If you guys think it was a waste of money, just type in that it was a waste of money in the comments. Just type in waste, because this is what we're seeing from Kamala Harris, who happens to be a Democratic vice president, Kamala Harris, who happens to be a Democratic presidential candidate. Malice agreed that Harris could win the election, as well as former Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. However, he said that he doesn't think that Harris is going to be victorious. So he's basically disagreeing with Joe Rogan, who says that Kamala Harris will beat Donald Trump. Referencing her poor 2020 presidential primary campaign, he asked, quote, how bad do you have to be that you can't even make Iowa, end quote. Elsewhere, Joe Rogan noted that he originally believed Donald Trump's assassination attempt would have given the candidate more momentum ahead of the November election, but he admitted that the pace of the news cycle has squashed it. Quote, I would have thought that Donald Trump getting shot like this, that it's over, that the election's over, but it's like they memory hold that so quick, end quote. What do y'all think? Because that's what I'm thinking and feeling as well. I feel like the media did a phenomenal job of basically squashing the Donald Trump shooting to a point where people are forgetting what had happened. And you guys let me know in the comments if you agree or if you disagree, but I feel like they're trying to they're trying to bury the story, and they have so much power to be able to do it, which is just it's wild how much power they have. And at the time of the shooting, it was almost like Donald Trump was pretty much guaranteed the presidency. And now they're doing all that they can to bury the story, talk about anything and everything else to make the people forget about what has happened to the president. And a lot of folks are pointing the finger at who actually motivated or inspired Thomas Matthew Crooks to do what he did. Now, I want you guys to comment down below. Who do you think inspired, motivated, paid Thomas Crooks to attempt to do what he did? Let me know who you think may actually be behind that. But anyway, guys, I just want to give you guys this quick update. If you haven't already, thank you so much for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. You guys are amazing. Thank you for sharing these videos to help get the truth out. And I'm going to catch you guys real soon.